Happy Friday and welcome to the Three-Man Weave College Basketball Show hosted by SportsbookReview.com. Welcome, folks. My name is Ky McKeon, your host. With me, as always, Matt and Jim. We are the Three-Man Weave. Please like and subscribe to SBR Sports Picks. That is the YouTube channel you are tuning into. We got a good slate for you today. Lots of games to talk about. Some Saturday games as well. Big matchups on Saturday. Also, please, everyone, go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAB. That URL at the top of your screen for more college basketball betting content, including our videos and some good written content also by the SBR team. Fellas, takeaways from Thirsty Thursday, Jim Root in Vegas. Let's start with you.
Ky, Kansas is still Kansas. They have won 30 straight Big 12 openers. You put them on the road at Texas Tech with 3,000 fans, and they say, whatever, that's fine. We'll take a couple haymakers in the second half. We'll rally. We'll have perfect execution on a late-game blob to get the go-ahead bucket. And they're 1-0 in the Big 12. No one should be surprised, unfortunately. Matt, what about you?
Jim, it's a Pirates life for me. Seton Hall, after a tough 1-3 start, has looked really strong the last few weeks. I mean, I don't really understand where the switch flipped. I think it was Sandro Mamu, one of the best Georgian players in our game today. Just having this renaissance of a development in his game, what he can do inside and out, he's just transformed that team. It's another example of teams that lose star players from the year before tend to actually have strong value the year after. People overvalue the impact of a high usage star player. Sandro has almost replaced all of, if not given more of the production that Miles Powell had last year, just from a different position. The Pirates, for my money, third best team in the Big East, Ky.
Yeah, you might be right, Matt. Also,
wow,
Jim,
you're off your UConn bandwagon?
It's 3A, 3B. I got to see Cook come back first. Yeah,
I rank them both third. It's okay.
I rank everyone third, Jim. It's participation trophies all around for me.
Jim, that out of bounds play under the basket. Guys, defenders, wear the crown. What are you doing, Texas Tech ball defender? That's not how you defend out of bounds plays.
For anyone that didn't attend Marquette High School, wear the crown means a defender should be under the basket, covering that area up. These guys always said that, and I never knew what it meant. But yeah, it's crazy that so many teams can't defend out of bounds plays.
Yeah. One takeaway for me, guys: slew wagon, never in doubt. Although I'll be honest, I was a little bit nervous. NC State came out pretty hot. SLU looked a little nervous at first, but that's enough of takeaways. Let's get into the slate for today, and again, a couple games tomorrow. And in fact, we start with a game tomorrow, possibly the best game of the year thus far. Gonzaga versus Iowa. Man, what a heavyweight bout we have here. Game of the year, boys, because that Baylor game got canceled. I think we said earlier this season we can't wait to bet on the Zags in this game. So, fellas, we have to put our money where our mouth is, I think. We're going to see two fantastic offenses. Jim, are you still confident in a Gonzaga lean in this game?
I'm confident, but not as confident. What we did not know in the preseason is that Gonzaga would be playing this game off a COVID shutdown. They haven't played a game in over 2 weeks. And now they've got they started practicing again on Monday, are the reports. So they've at least gotten some good reps in before this one. But I wish they had just, been able to play their regular schedule, come into this game comfortable and clicking on all cylinders. Now you've got that uncertainty of maybe they'll be a little rusty. Maybe things aren't going to be running as smoothly. I still like Gonzaga. I think they're just clearly the better team. But Iowa's offense has been nuclear so far. Pretty much unstoppable. They're knocking down shots from everywhere. Garza is just a singular force that is unmatched in the sport. I still like Gonzaga, but I'm a little more nervous at this point. Matt, where do you land here?
Jim, great offense beats great defense, and we'll have two of the best offenses in this matchup.
The two best.
I can't imagine what the total is going to be. Iowa so far this year is 6-0 on the over, going over the total by 16 points a game. Gonzaga is 2-1 on the over. Their one under was kind of a fluky one. I mean, this could be could this hit 170? I have no idea. I am excited to see because points will be flying from the Raptors in this one. I think this is Drew Timme's game. I think Drew Timme, as I mentioned on our podcast, is due for a breakout. He's so sick of the Luka Garza hype show. He wants to prove that he is as good, if not better. And I think that matchup bodes very well because Garza, phenomenal offensive player, a virtuoso on that end of the floor. Defensively, leaves a lot to be desired. Ky?
Yeah, Timme got some piss and vinegar in him, Matthew.
Yes, he does.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I think I think where Gonzaga has to beat Iowa is on the boards, right? Iowa's defensive rebounding has been putrid this year, even against some bad teams. So Gonzaga, that's where they need to take advantage. Obviously, Iowa still could put up 80-plus points. So Gonzaga's offense is going to have to do some heavy lifting. Matt, the total at KenPom is 171. So I wouldn't be surprised if this opens that high.
I think it opens 170. I think it absolutely does. Yeah,
it's just
I'm not touching the under. I won't touch the under.
Why would you? Again, the number one, number two offenses per KenPom, Iowa and Gonzaga. Should be a fun one, guys. We'll move on to a Friday game. That is today. Of course, we have an actual spread. Davidson at Rhode Island, an A10 bout. I believe the spread's hovering around 4.5 or 5 towards the Rams.
We're down to 3.5.
Dude, this always happens. I swear. 6 minutes go by in the show, and the line changes 1.5 points. All right, down to 3. URI schedule, guys, I want to point this out, has been brutal. Rhode Island has played 7 teams, all 7 games, against KenPom top 100 opponents, but they are 5-1-1 against the spread. That is impressive. But, Matt, I think we like Davidson in this one.
Kai, we love Davidson. It's a perfect spot for the Wildcats coming off a disgusting home loss to Charlotte. You know, a team like Charlotte is like looking in the mirror for Davidson. They play very slow, very methodically. Half-court execution, a premium is placed there. I don't think Rhode Island is smart enough to defend Davidson for 40 minutes and all that they do offensively. I think on the inside, losing one of the Mitchell twins for the year sort of hinders their interior resistance. I think Davidson can score inside and out in this game. If they control the tempo, which Bob McKillop coach teams typically do, I think Davidson's the right side here. Jim?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not a perfect comparison, but Wisconsin kind of methodically broke down the Rhode Island defense, scored over 1 points per possession on them, and Rhode Island not getting out in transition really killed them in that one. So if Davidson can keep this in the half court, Rhode Island will struggle to score. I like Davidson. I'm taking it at +3. I think the Wildcats are ready to go here to start A10 play, and Rhode Island a little beat up. They've been running all over the world, like Kai mentioned. So I will go Davidson here.
Yeah, I agree. I lean Davidson. I think we see a game closer to their nearly beating Texas, nearly beating Providence style of play versus the setback they had against Charlotte. It is a close game. Rhode Island's certainly more physical team, but I do think Davidson stays within the number, maybe even wins this game outright on the road. Again, the A10 is just a brutal gauntlet this year, guys.
Yes, it is.
All right, moving on to an Old Mountain West matchup. BYU at San Diego State. BYU now in the WCC, of course, for the last few years. This game, guys, it probably moved, but I saw 6.5 before the show. San Diego State favored by 6.5. These two teams have played the last 2 years. San Diego State has won both. Matt, any reason to expect a BYU bounce back here?
Oh, I'm betting on it big. This is one of my favorites of the day here. I love the Storm and Mormons. To me, this game feels like it should be closer to a pick'em. San Diego State's been very impressive so far. However, I think if you dig into the results a little more closely, the Arizona win, it was actually fairly close for most of that. They escaped in the second half. That's not been aging very well. I just think BYU has the interior size up front to neutralize Nathan Mensah, who's been a monster for the Aztecs, so that you can combat him inside and make this more a perimeter type game. I know BYU's guards are weaker than they have been in the past, but I still like Alex Barcelo and what they can do from the outside. Jim, are you going with the Mormons here?
I'm double endorsing this. I will be on BYU as well. I don't think this is a pick'em. I think this is more like they're equal, and since it's at San Diego State, maybe San Diego State -3. So, but if you're going to give me 6, chat's saying 7.5. So I'll take the 7. I'll lock in BYU +7 per Ed R in the chat. And I just think BYU is pretty solid. They haven't done a lot wrong other than getting blown out by USC after they had to go cross country into Uncasville. And kind of a tough schedule spot for them. Boise State home loss is forgivable. It's a really good team. Destroyed Utah, which was a really impressive performance.
Yes. Yep.
So I think BYU can hang around here.
Yeah, guys, I'm hopping on the BYU +7 bandwagon. I am a little more hesitant maybe than you two are. I think San Diego State's going to cause turnovers. BYU's ball handling hasn't been the most secure lately, but I do think BYU can hit threes. San Diego State has allowed a middle to high 3-point attempt rate.
Yeah.
So I like that for my Cougars, right? They shoot a ton of threes.
And they've been shooting better lately.
Yep.
They've been shooting better lately, too. They had a terrible cold streak to start the year. So I think there's a little bit of buy low shooting reversion to mean value there.
I agree. So San Diego State, I think, wins this game. I think they win it by, 3 or 4, 7 points. That's enough.
You better say that. You better say they win by 3 or 4.
Yeah, less than 7. We'll say that. Okay, moving on to a Big 12 matchup. Iowa State at West Virginia. Spread around 15 and a half. Guys, all I wrote down was LOL bloodbath. Jim, am I wrong?
I wrote absolute bloodbath coming. So we are very much on the same page. Some of the smaller shops, your Circus, your Bet Online's opened this as high as 18. Thankfully, Chris opened it at 15 and a half, so I don't have to be on the Cyclones. Yeah, I am not interested in backing them here. They're just going to get bodied down low. West Virginia's playing a little more with Gabe Osaboyan at the 4, but he's still a versatile athlete that can get on the glass. They're going to beat him up in the paint. And then Iowa State's offense is just three kind of, we call them the misfit toys, 3 guards taking bad shots, kind of like rotating back and forth. And against a really good defensive team in West Virginia, those are going to be challenged. There's going to be a hand in the face. Yeah. I doubt they'll go in. They're not going to get second chances. Yeah, it feels like West Virginia runs away in this one, but I'm not going to touch it.
I'm going to harken back to the Iowa State K-State breakdown we did. Was that yesterday or 2 days ago? Days are running together at this point, but
time's a flat circle.
In 2020, it absolutely is kind of very astute observation. But we talked about how bad K-State looked going into that matchup, and we talked about how K-State seems like they have no chance, but yet then they beat Iowa State outright. I think we see a similar type of dynamic here with Iowa State, where we're all just bashing how bad they are. Getting 14-15 in a conference game is enormous, especially in the Big 12. I just can't. I'll probably take Iowa State small. I just think the line's incredibly large for, like I said, a conference game when, typically a home court West Virginia spot would be worth 3-4, even more, maybe 5 points, probably closer to 2 in this one. So I think you're getting pretty good value here on the Clones, unless you think they're just absolute garbage, which they have been. In that case, stay away. Then stay away.
My quick response, this is a very anecdotal example, but after Halliburton went down, they were getting like 17 or 18 at Kansas on the road last year, ended up losing by 20. We're down by like 25 late in the set for most of the last 10 minutes. Yeah, so Iowa State is bad enough to lose conference games by 25. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Ken Palm stat here. Mountaineers 18th in offensive rebounding percentage. Iowa State 290th in defensive rebounding percentage. Hence the bloodbath phrase Jim and I used at the beginning of the breakdown. I can't touch Iowa State, Matt. I agree the spread seems very high on paper, Big 12 game, but I think West Virginia could absolutely kill them. So I will stay away. Let's go to questions, guys. Any questions from the chat mob early? We got a lot of games today, actually, for Friday. So what's out there?
Lots of them. A few folks asking about Tennessee. One person specifically, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Tennessee first half. I endorse this personally. I am on Tennessee myself. I believe the number is 27-28. Correct me if I'm wrong, in that ballpark. I think you're getting Tennessee. It's sort of the low end of their rise, right? I mean, people are starting to figure out how good they are. This is a team in Tennessee Tech that's improving. They're now healthy, but I think they swallow them up. They haven't seen a caliber of defense like Tennessee this year. So I'm on the Vols here.
I think spreads up to like 29, Matthew, but I agree. Okay. I wouldn't take Tech.
I said it about App State against Tennessee. Tennessee Tech will not score either. They couldn't put up points against Jacksonville State last time out, and I don't think they score against Tennessee either.
Okay, I'd probably stay away at 29 just to clarify that. Patricia wants to know Weber State, Porty State. I have not looked at this matchup very closely. I'll just be honest, Jim. I'm going to throw it to you, hot potato here. Any thoughts on this matchup?
I think Portland State's the more talented roster. Both these teams bring in a ton of transfers, so they're still kind of working out what their identities are. It's hard for me to trust either one right now. I might have a slight lean towards Weber, but I really don't have anything strong in this one. Portland State's going to try to run up and down. Weber might try to play with them this year with some of the additions they made, but I want to wait and see a little more what these teams are before I wager too much on or against them.
I will say preseason, Matthew, if you asked me this question, I would have taken Portland State with a bullet. However, I think the transfer jumble with the COVID-19 shutdowns matters, so it is a stay away for me as well.
Yeah, and Weber, that team hasn't been healthy in what feels like 5 years, so that's just a revolving door of guys in the rotation. It's never a team I feel safe betting on. Alexander, VMI, Gardner-Webb, he wants to know about. He also mentions, I just want to clarify something. I believe, Alexander, you talked about public money being on VMI, but the line moving against them. We don't really subscribe to reverse line movement and public money when it comes to the dregs of college basketball mid-major line. I just don't think it really moves the money. The books would probably agree with that. So don't read too much into that. Just a PSA announcement. I personally like Gardner-Webb here a little bit. I believe you both are against me, though, correct? Jim?
I like VMI. I see it at 5 in a couple places, and I love that. If you can get 5 with VMI, that's a team that hangs around. I've kind of warmed up to them a little bit this year.
Yeah,
and Gardner-Webb has struggled a little bit too. They lost a ton this offseason. They've got a couple solid guys back, but I think this one, Matt, you said it about San Diego State BYU. This feels closer to like a -1 pick'em game for me, so I'll take the points.
Yeah, I might just be buying too much into the Gardner-Webb opener against Western Kentucky, which did not age well against Pittsburgh. They didn't score for the first 12 minutes, I think. Jim Beam, I guess a pseudo-alcohol sponsor of the podcast. Central Michigan, Western Michigan. I like the under in this one. Central Michigan, I believe, is out one of their main. They kind of have a dual point guard system. One of those guys has not played this year. I just don't think they have Deshaun Winston. Thank you. Yeah. Lane is still there. Winston is not played. I think he's opted out. They just don't have the same offensive oomph that the Keno Davis's teams in years past have had. Kai, any takes here on this one, or are you staying away?
No, staying away. Matt, I actually kind of lean the over, actually, but I will not challenge you, sir.
Weave versus weave.
Not strong enough for me to take.
I think both these teams are bad. These are the worst.
Yes.
Yeah, other than Northern Illinois, as shorthanded as they are, these are the worst two teams in the MAC. I'm not touching it.
Yeah, two of the worst, bottom four for sure. You can make an argument that they are the two, in fact, worst. Let's do a couple more here. We're looking on time. Eddie R. Howard versus Hampton. An extra special. The big news for Howard, obviously, Nogel Eastern is presumably eligible to play. I could not find any reports confirming he would play or the expectation of how much he would play. If you guys have better research than me, please chime in now. But where do you guys stand on this one?
Couldn't find anything, but I even with him, I think is a little bit of an odd overreaction. Without Maker, without Wayne Bristol, the other guy that was supposed to be featured this year for Howard, Hampton's better to me. They haven't been awesome this year against the number, but I think they're better than Howard, and I think they win.
I think it's a joke they're a dog. So if you have Hampton as a dog, Hampton, absolutely.
Let's do one more. Nick Caruso, San Jose State, Santa Clara. Little NorCal Bay Area showdown tonight. Santa Clara a little bit shorthanded. San Jose State now was shorthanded to start the year. They get Seneca Knight back, look more competent with him. Jim, I believe you watched that San Jose State game. Do you think they parlay that momentum into a better effort against Clara tonight?
I'm liking San Jose State here as a home dog, but I've kind of been against Santa Clara in every game this year, so perhaps take that with a grain of salt. I just don't think that team's that great. Their guards really make me question them, but they're long. They're pretty solid defensively. It depends on if San Jose State can get out in transition. So that's where Seneca Knight scores. That's where Richard Washington likes to score. In a half-court game, they can beat them up inside with Guglielmo Caruso, the fantastically named Santa Clara big guy, Guglielmo.
Guglielmo.
So if it's half court, Santa Clara can probably take it to him. But I think San Jose State will be able to run a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I think Santa Clara will. I was thinking under, but I think the pace does play better or more in San Jose's favor, which is faster. So it's not. But Santa Clara has all these, like, they play 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 6'10", 6'11". It's one of the longest teams in the country.
Fifth nationally in average height. Yep.
Yeah, they are long. So they are really good defensively. But Kai, back to the outline. I'll keep documenting. There's chatter is flying this morning. I love it.
It is flying. Hey, quick aside, Selvin, the clock behind me. We got a review on our podcast a while ago that said these guys are straight like 9:15. So I set my clock to 9:15 because I thought it was funny. That's the backstory.
That's a cool little phrase.
Broken. That's the backstory of the clock. Okay, we're moving on to a MAC matchup. St. Peter's at Monmouth. Monmouth scored like crazy in their first game of the season. Played super fast, hit 15 of 30 from deep. But St. Peter's, they're 2-0 in the MAC. As expected, super tough defensively. Just very challenged on the offensive end. Let's go to Jim first. Which way are you leaning? Peacocks or Hawks?
A little bit towards the Peacocks on the spread. I'm not going to take them. I like the under, but I'm not going to bet it. Monmouth's first game. This is only Monmouth's second game now. And yeah, it was a complete track meet against Hofstra. A layup line or a wide open three fest. I mean, Hofstra got whatever they wanted against Monmouth, and Monmouth was scorching from the outside. The old George Pappas hit 9 threes.
Georgie.
Yeah. So I like the under. I want to take it, but I can't trust it just yet. Just seeing how Monmouth has played. If they're still that helter skelter, this could go way over. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I actually have Monmouth favored by a small margin here, so I should be inclined to take this. I'm going to stay away because, again, Monmouth's still very out of sorts, as you mentioned. Look, discombobulated defensively against Hofstra. King Rice was very forthcoming on just they're trying to find their way, and he's letting their guys just go out and play. And the only reason they're competitive with Hofstra is because Pappas and Hammond caught fire from three. St. Pete is very tenacious defensively. I think Monmouth benefited from a relatively apathetic Hofstra defense. They're going to have to handle the ball tonight, really execute, and I just don't see that happening. So I'm going to stay away, even though I think the wrong team is favored here. Kai?
Yeah, guys, I lean Monmouth, actually. They forced a ton of turnovers against Hofstra, and St. Peter's has been a little shaky with the ball this year. Their point guard escapes me, the guy last year. He left the team. Aaron Estrada.
Yeah, he's at Oregon.
Plus, the way you beat the Peacocks, guys, is by shooting the three. You cannot score inside against them. They do not allow it. And that's all Monmouth wants to do. So there is a path to winning here for Monmouth. They're always tough in league play. So I actually do lean the Hawks at home as a slight dog. I believe they're +1, +1.5 right now. Nothing strong, just a gut lean there. All right, moving on. 2 CBS Sports Classic games to finish us off before we get into our best bets. UCLA versus Ohio State. By the way, these are both Saturday contests. UCLA Ohio State should be a good game. UCLA appears to have found its swagger following an opening season loss to San Diego State. They're the 14th best offensive team in the country. But Jim, EJ Liddell is out for Ohio State. How much does he matter?
Well, he might play. He's been like day to day, but he has mono, so it's hard to expect him to just like step on the court and be good to go. And that's huge. I mean, Purdue kind of dominated inside against Ohio State without him. They had to double. Trevion Williams had 16 points, 9 boards, and 8 assists. I think the assist part just shows that Ohio State had to double everything, and Williams is a great passer. I'm not quite sure Cody Riley and Jalen Hill are the same caliber of passers, but they can beat up Ohio State inside if Liddell isn't playing. So I have a slight lean towards UCLA here. Obviously, we don't know the number yet, but I just think the Bruins are a little more for real than Ohio State at this point without Towns and Liddell, which is crazy to say because I'm kind of like a Pac-12 hater, but I think this UCLA team's solid and Ohio State maybe a little bit smoke and mirrors at this point.
Jim, I'm with you. I think Ohio State, they really lack perimeter creativity. I think I've said it 5 times on this program before. UCLA, the more balanced team, now healthy with Jalen Hill back in the rotation. Johnny Juzang starting to work his way back in, another shooting punch there. I just think the Bruins are the better team. So I will probably be on UCLA here. I will say any total less than 130, I would pounce on it immediately. I think both teams want to out-maneuver or out-challenge the other in the half court. There's zero appetite to run up and down. So I would pounce on any total under 130, although it might come in, it might open lower than that. We'll see.
Yeah, well, Ken Pom's got it 135, just so you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the spread is here. I hope it's around pick because I'll take UCLA.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win this game. All right, moving on to the arguably the highlight of the CBS Sports Classic here. Kentucky versus North Carolina, a blue blood battle. My first question for you, fellas. Matthew, I'm going to you. Will UK fans lose their minds if Big Blue Nation starts 1-5? To be fair, their schedule's been rough. What do you think?
I mean, haven't they already lost their minds? I mean, nothing they've done so far has been even remotely impressive. It's also a bad matchup here against North Carolina. You know, their only efficient source of offense, the Cats, has been playing through Olivier Sarr on the block. North Carolina trots out 4 behemoth individuals up front, starting with Garrison Brooks, Daron Sharp. Just a bunch of bodies to check Sarr. There's no risk of foul trouble. If 2 of them catch 5 fouls, there's 2 more waiting in the wings. I just don't see a path for Kentucky to have success here offensively unless it turns into maybe they get up and down helter-skelter affair. They can get some second chance points on the glass. I just don't see it. I think North Carolina's a better team, and I'm going to take them here. Jim?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I can just barrage them inside. The Heels can. And Kentucky has been horrible shooting the ball. They can't knock down perimeter shots. It's something in their minds. They're just not confident, and they're not making anything. And we saw against Iowa, that was how you had to score against UNC. Even Luka Garza for 28 minutes couldn't get things going. I think he only shot like 6 for 20 from the field. So if they're able to limit Garza, they were only beaten by like 23s from the Iowa guards. We're not going to see that from Kentucky. I like North Carolina here. That John Calipari rant about, he was like, you wanted me to schedule tough. Well, you're going to see what's happened when I schedule tough with a young team. It's ringing true right now.
I don't want to defend Kentucky here. This is a terrible matchup for them. I think UNC totally beats them. But UK's 4 losses, I do want to point this out. So Kansas by 3, respectable game. The other 3 teams they lost to rank 69th, 6th, and 12th nationally in experience. I think that's really affected them early on in this weird COVID season. They don't have the continuity. They don't have the reps yet. to be a totally cohesive team quite yet, and they've played teams that are very experienced. So I think there's reason to believe they bounce back still later in the year. I'm not saying it's going to be this game, but I think better should keep that in mind as Kentucky goes forward in the season. Okay, that does it for the main rundown. Let's get to our picks, and then we will hit more chat mob questions. Jim, your best bet, your pick of the day is?
Kai, there've been a couple people asking about this game in the chat, so I'm gonna feed the answer here.
Do it.
I am on Iona. They are headed to Ryder. There's been some interesting money moves here where the favorite has kind of alternated back and forth. I'm going to check the current line. Iona -1 is the current line I'm seeing right now. I will take them. They've been maybe the most Jekyll and Hyde team so far this year. Like every other game, they play good or terrible, good or terrible. Due for a good game if you like that pattern, which I do. And I think they're going to start hitting their stride a little more, a little like Kentucky. Like Kai said, they turned over almost their entire roster. So they're going to come together a little better as the season goes on. They're obviously well coached with Rick Pitino. And Asante Gist is only getting healthier. So, yeah, I like Iona quite a bit here. The Gales are my best bet. Either of you joining me?
Yeah, I already have, Jim.
I'm already on board, Jim.
All right.
The train to take off. So my best bet, I already mentioned it earlier. I just want to put the stamp of approval on it right now. BYU, if you can catch 7, hop on it now. I believe 7 is the line still available at most books. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just think, like I said,
a lot of 6, a lot of 6.5. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so 6 was kind of where I drew the line. So 6.5 is fine. I will accept that. I think the Mormons come out. I think even a money line dabble might be worth an investment here. Jim, I'm sorry, Kai.
I've endorsed it earlier in the pod. I'm also on BYU. They gave us 7 earlier in the show.
I'll take the earlier 7. Yeah, we talked about it. Okay, my best bet, guys, is Fairfield. Actually, a hold your nose type of bet here. Fairfield currently at +4.5 at Niagara. And another MAC battle. Tough start for Fairfield, not denying that at all. But they proved they can punch back a little bit. They drubbed Iona in that back-to-back game. They have a terrible offense. Don't watch this game. They're a bottom 10 offense in the country. It really is brutal. I just think this spread is too high. Raheem Solomon, not all the way healthy for Niagara. He's a very important piece for them. Probably still a little hobbled. I do think he plays. And Niagara's offense, guys, is all about shooting threes. They play 5 out. Fairfield so far under Jay Young has been very good defensively at taking away the 3. I think that's a key in this game. I think they kind of muck up this game a lot and keep it close. Also, as a bonus, there's a freshman for Fairfield named Supreme Cook. That's an awesome name.
It's a great name.
He's an All-American name guy. So check him out and bet on the Stags. All right. That does it for our best bets. Guys, what do we have left in the chat? Before we get to the chat, actually, reminder, please #smash. I hate that phrase. The like button below. SBR Sports Picks is the channel you are watching. All right, Matthew and Jim, chat mob. What do we got?
A lot going. Jim, tell me if I miss any here. Here's the list.
I hands off on this one. I left it all up to you.
Oh, this is not good. Leaving me up to the sole responsibility of managing the chat. I'm probably going to be overwhelmed here. Andrew Shepard Keys and Canes Nation asking Montana State, Washington State. I love the under here. Washington State could be down 3 starters. DJ Robin got hurt last game, along with Tony Miller and Alon Kuntz, if I pronunciation check there. And they're also down another freshman.
Got it.
I'm sure I missed it. I'm sure I swung and whiffed badly. Point being, Washington State is badly hurt. Kyle Smith has been slowing the pace down to a snail's pace to compensate for his lack of offensive ammunition. I think this is a slow game. Any thoughts on this one, Jim?
Gross. This game is disgusting.
So stay away. Bet it and don't watch it.
This game's getting up to 6.5, 7. I mean, what do people see in Washington State? Montana State's not bad. I'll lean Montana State at that number.
I don't like Washington State as a favorite. Okay, yeah. I would co-sign that. Marilee wants to ask about Belmont, Tennessee State. Jim, I know you were looking at something here with given some of the injury situations on both sides.
Interested in Belmont, but I'd like to get maybe a little better update on Grayson Murphy closer to game time. Their point guard that's missed the last 2, apparently dealing with a foot injury. That's all I've read. Not sure exactly what it is, but he's crucial for them. He runs their attack. They never ran away from Kennesaw last game out, which is a bad team. So I'd wait to see on that. Although Tennessee State also could be missing Carlos Marshall, who has yet to play the season. Their leading returning scorer from last year.
Luke Beasley, North Dakota. Southern Illinois. This is a back-to-back rematch. These two teams played yesterday. And
we're aware, Matt. We're aware.
Yes, Jim lost his under.
That was.
I'm
tough.
going under again here.
Yeah, you got to go under again.
As it should. 100%. The second half was ridiculous, Jim. What was the stat?
13 of 20 from 3 in the second half yesterday for these two teams. I think the back-to-back helps the under a little bit.
Yeah,
it's 136 right now. I'm taking the under 136. I will lock that one in as a second best bet, a bonus best bet.
Ooh, wow. Okay. A BBB. Okay. Yep. Triple B across, triple B rating there. I will also mention that the back-to-back spots has usually favored the dog. And so I think in that regard, North Dakota, especially with Deshaun
Alan Eikens,
thank you, the hyphenator, the hyphen hero, as I'll just call him generically. His second game back, he probably plays better in this one. So I think some value is probably on the dog there. Some requests on Drake for South Dakota. Kyle, go to you on this one. Drake's been a wagon so far. South Dakota, not a lot of depth, but they have one of the best players in the country. Yes, I said country, and Stanley Umude. Who do you like here?
He's very strong. He's very good.
He's awesome.
The mid-major realm, Matt. I'll
fine,
give you that.
Fine. That in that pond, he is one of the biggest fish.
You know, I don't think South Dakota is very good this year, and Drake has looked very good. My number is about where it is right now. 6.5, 7. So I'm staying away. I lean Drake. They're the much better team.
I took Drake small, but it's a revenge spot, and we've seen those play great for the team that lost the first one.
Yeah. All right, I just saw this one come up in the chatter. I don't know how we haven't got this one yet. Richmond Loyola.
Yep.
The Itsy Bitsy Spiders versus the Ramblers. Man, I'm just excited to watch this game. I have no lean on either side or total. Do either of you want to step in here with a endorsement of something?
I think there was a 3.5 at one point. I liked Loyola there, but now it's closer to a pick, and I think that's exactly how it should be. This feels a little like the Kansas-Texas Tech game, where it's two very good, equal-ish teams that I'll take the points in a head-to-head there.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. 2.5. I see. I'd probably lean Loyola if that's the case.
Yep, 2.5 now. Yeah,
I think I'd agree. Consensus lean-ish there. Brandon T. SEMO. Kai, I believe you're looking at SEMO here. Is that correct, or am I mistaken?
Yeah, I am actually. I like SEMO -5, -5.5 against Tennessee Martin. I've been big on the Hawks, man. You convinced me a little bit. I guess they're both the Hawks. I'm big on the Red Hawks, not the Sky Hawks. There you go.
Yeah, the better type of Hawk for sure. Yeah. Let's do two more real quick. Jim, quick hitter to you. Ryan Abramowitz wants to know about Nevada Air Force. I know you're low on this Air Force team, and based on what I saw against Drake, I'm souring. They basically have one competent player in Walker, and the rest of the guys look like a bunch of high schoolers out there. They just have no talent.
Yeah, and that's why they're playing ultra slow. They want games to be 59 possessions if at all possible. Nevada probably won't let that happen, but I still think I like the under here.
Final one here, Bowling Green from Mr. Stanley Pig in the chat. Kai, are you going to go with the juice, a.k.a. Justin Turner in this one? A little bounce back spot for the Falcons?
Matt, I didn't even see this game on the board. I have no idea where they're playing.
I was going to say, I was looking at myself. Who are they playing? Oh, Robert Morris? Am I missing that?
That must have popped up late. I don't see it. So
I have
nothing for you guys.
I thought that game had been, for some reason, I remember seeing that game had been postponed or something, but maybe it's back on. So yeah, I don't have an opinion either.
It's Robert Morris's first D1 game of the year. They have played one D2 game. That's all I know off the cuff. So again, we like attacking those spots. Yeah. All right, that's it. Sign us off, Kai.
All right, thanks, guys, for joining us once again. Go to that URL at the top of your screen, sbrpicks.com/NCAAB for more college basketball betting content and our show. Subscribe once again, SBR Sports Picks. That's the YouTube channel you are watching. Also, check us out on Twitter, 3MW_CBB. We will see you on Monday. Have a good weekend, folks.